Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's an honor and a pleasure to be back. Let me add my yeses to those of Fred Burston and Neil Ferguson. Yes, China is manipulating its currency. Yes, it is in violation of commitments to the IMF, to the World Trade Organization, and to the United States. Yes, it's harmful. It's harmful to many developing countries, Mexico being high on the list, but it's also harmful to the United States. Fred has pointed out estimates of increased unemployment in the U.S. as a result of China's distortion of markets. I would take it even further. I think that we have to look at the impact of the currency management, not just in terms of trade, but also in terms of investment. Companies make long-term investment decisions on where to place factories. If they anticipate that a currency is going to be chronically undervalued, the tendency, particularly in the case of China, is going to be for them to locate their new investments in China. So this has an impact not only on employment, but also on technology development and on the placement of capital investment. This is almost none of this is even in dispute. Virtually all analysts and economists who look at these numbers come to pretty much the same conclusions. I would just add that China's not alone. Japan pioneered this development model of export-led growth, fostered particularly by undervalued currencies, and there are a number of other countries that are currently participating or pursuing the same models. Nor is currency undervalue the only element in the model. Another very important aspect of it is subsidization of investment. So, for example, companies like Intel that have recently invested in China have calculated that because of the tax rebates, because of the capital grants and other financial investment inducements, they're able to save as much as $1 billion over the lifetime of an investment. So the financial investment incentives are twinned with the currency undervaluation to create a powerful incentive to move investment, technology, and jobs out of the U.S. and out of Europe and out of other countries. What to do? I agree that, first I agree with Fred Bergsten that in my experience, which is about as long as his, no country that has been running a trade surplus has voluntarily agreed to take steps to reduce it unilaterally. It typically takes pressure from the outside, and I'm sure that it will also in the case of China. Certainly the initial thrust of any U.S. response needs to be multilateral. I agree that, in fact, I would say in terms of the immediate question, should China be labeled a currency manipulator, I don't see how the president can avoid doing so. Everybody knows that China is manipulating its currency. If the president fudges that, he looks weak and dishonest. And so I don't see how he can really avoid that. But having said that, then once he does that, where do we go? Obviously, first steps are to the IMF, to the WTO, in pursuit of the persuading China to observe the agreements that it has already made in those bodies. But I think we have to be realistic and anticipate that those could be very difficult discussions, and that they might not go anywhere, or that they might not go anywhere very quickly. I think it's also important to anticipate that China might respond by some nominal revaluation of its currency. A revaluation of 3, 4, 5% might be presented as flexibility on the part of China, but it would have no real significance in terms of the distortion of the markets that we're talking about. And so I think we have to think very seriously about not only the time period, but the size of revaluation or readjustments that we're talking about. And I think we have to think not only about China, but we have to think about the other countries that are involved in this restructuring, let's say, of globalization. So a second step here is to think about things that we can do, that we should be doing ourselves. Mr. Camp talked about steps that we need to take domestically to become more competitive. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I would add one very important point. Let me come back to this issue of financial investment incentives.
Mr. Prestowitz, if you do that quickly, because I've been told we're going to have votes in about an hour.
My last point is that the United States can, and in my view should, establish a war chest to match the investment incentive offers of countries that, like China, like others, who are using tax holidays and capital grants to induce investments that otherwise would not be made. Thank you.
Thank you.